Hello, I'm Rick Fitzpatrick, Deputy Head of Secondary Diploma Program at the International School Moshi. This is my 8th year here and about my 19th year in education. I've also taught in Germany, Belize, and in Egypt. The International School Moshi is a wonderful place. I think the values that are inculcated here focus on helping to train global citizens of tomorrow. And we are charged with serving as, we can say, mentors for students as they, grow and learn and develop their own identity. That first question, what does it mean to be an educated person in the world? I think I wanted to start with a few adjectives. So, well-read, tolerant, accepting, but also aware of one's own limitations. I think an educated person may have a degree or two or three, but is fully cognizant of the fact that really it's all about lifelong learning. The values of International School Moshi, caring. We're a very caring community. We're a very global community. I think 20, 25 nationalities here. We're also a community that encourages holistic learning. So we not only have the academic, but there's lots of extracurricular activities, whether it be theater or music or sports. It values this holistic education. The IB Learner Profile is front and center in what our school values. So being principled, being an inquirer, being balanced, these things we emphasize. And in the classroom, we refer to these things on a regular basis. I think engaged learning is another value. We're not doing the rote learning thing. We're directly encouraging engagement. Maybe I'll even use the word empowerment. We want our learners to be empowered. And the coursework assignments and the day-to-day debates and discussions, they're all about empowering the students to their own learning. I think we're also about collegiality and collaboration that, in my view, are really critical for education in today's world, including in an international school, because we're preparing students for the future where they're going to have to be collaborating. And you hear that time and again. The other day I was listening to a business leader give a short presentation on what he values when he hires people, and it's collaboration. You have to be a collaboration-minded person. The school also values, I suppose, growth mindset and lifelong learning. So these are a few things that I could share on this issue. In terms of what are your values as an educator, and how do you apply this in class? So, organization and starting each class with a valuable hook and having a routine of a warm-up question, and then at the end of class, kind of a wrap-up exit ticket of some sort, as well as listing clearly in an organized fashion what my learning outcome is for that class and which of the approaches to learning I'm focusing on. So today I was doing research skills, and my history students had some online research that I specifically gave to them in an organized fashion. 3 items each, 10 minutes. They did the work. We had a good discussion. It was an effective class. So I think I value organization. I think I also value the idea of empowering students and helping them along as they are still adolescents, but at the same time providing guidance. And so our online tool is managed back. So every assignment I put there for them, and in the evening they'll go to it and they will do the assignment. I'm not a big detention person, so I value helping the students learn, and I, as the educator, control the punishment. So one of the 12 in the class, I said to all of them, who did the reading of these 6 pages and took your notes? And I went around, and one young man, I appreciated, he was honest, he said, I actually didn't get to it. I said, okay, what I want you to come is for a half an hour at lunch hour. So you eat your lunch, and then for a half an hour, you finish that assignment that was due today, and then come and see me. I like that kind of empowering the students to take responsibility. There is a sanction, but it's associated with the learning. It's immediate, and I value that as an educator. I value a great deal communicating with parents in the process. And so, as often as I can, I send an email and I copy my supervisor because that communication makes a huge difference. As a deputy head of secondary and a diploma coordinator, this is particularly important when we get to issues of, we can say, benchmarks. So certain points have to be obtained to remain, for instance, on full diploma. And I let the parents know via email several times and the newsletter, so they know that if your child doesn't meet these numbers, they're going to be moved to an easier or a lighter or less strenuous academic program, because it seems that that's the boat that they're putting themselves in. To what extent do you find it important that your personal values match with the school values? This is a great question. I think on the one hand, you're in a job and you want to get in a job where you are matched well. And so that really is crucially important. At times, you might have change of leadership, and the values shown by the new leader might be slightly different, in which case it might not excite you as much to be working in that place, but you have to weigh out the fact that it's a paid employment, you need the money, but maybe looking at another venue whose values match you. So it is crucial, but I think you can tolerate a little while being in a place that doesn't match your values. But not too long, because in the end, you'd be facing kind of a dissatisfaction, a discontent. I'm going into work and I really don't love this place anymore. I think that's really key, that you actually love the place that you're working at, because teaching is very, very demanding, and our values need to more or less match the school. When I was working in Maryland in the USA, there wasn't enough international angle at the private school I was at. So actually, after some months, I proposed to the leadership in the school. I was a young teacher at this point. Could I help with a few multiculturalism, global, mini workshops? Well, actually, they were thrilled. They said, actually, we have a half day coming up, and would you be willing to organize? So I organized a Building Bridges program that I brought in some professors from local universities to get everybody around this question of tolerance and multiculturalism and appreciating all religions and all directions of people. And it worked out very well. In fact, I think that program is still going on at that school 10 years later. And so I think this is if your values don't match, well, maybe you can raise an idea of something that you want to improve at that school. Leadership in schools really appreciate direct suggestions on how to tinker and improve the system. And being proactive helps you tremendously as you move on in education. So how does a school ensure the values are tied into the curriculum and classroom practice? I think, it's recruitment. So if you're interested, when you examine and apply for schools, look at their mission statement. Look at the values that are presented on their website. Talk to some former employees at that school or current employees. What do they think about it? How is the experience there? And doing so will really help you understand the values. Then, in terms of the curriculum and the classroom practice, why not go, once you're in a school, and watch other teachers, especially those who might be viewed as being experienced and well-respected and ideal mentor teachers. You could learn so much from them, even if they're in primary and you're a secondary. The same pedagogical approach and the values of the school should actually be coming through wherever you visit. So the classroom practice, you're going to notice going by or popping in to another class where there's a boring teacher, where it's super dry, where it's lecture discussion all the time. And chances are those are not the teachers who are going to progress in the system at that school, because nowadays It's all about, as I said before, empowering students and engaged learning and promoting values that are important for today's workplace in the global setting where we live. I think these are the key things I want to highlight, that being an educated person as a teacher is all about being a role model for students and sharing, key values, the values of grit, about being balanced, about keeping yourself healthy, all these things, inquiring mind, lifelong learning. Today's teacher has to be going in this direction, especially in international schools. It will help you tremendously to continue in your career if you can, and learn from experienced teachers and have a growth mindset. And then actually another thing I would suggest on the values is, why not set up for yourself, as I've recently done, in terms of using either a certain book or a certain aspect of social media. For me, it's Twitter, where once a week I go on for maybe an hour and I just learn from others in terms of pedagogy and leadership and management, and colleagues who are I'm a history teacher, who share these kinds of things, really can improve your teaching. So I hope that this has been helpful in terms of understanding various things about teaching at the International School of Moshi and values-centered teaching.